Hello friends, welcome to Intuites.
Let's begin the class.
We're working on one of the things that is to access the Azure Key Vault, the access keys, right? And it was doing some permission error, right? Have you guys tried that? It worked for you? Here I have created another Azure Key Vault again, okay? And I created the Databricks secret as well. And I'll show you why it was not working last time. Now, if you use it, you will be able to get it. Okay. Instead of writing the hard-coded access keys, now I can use this method db_secrets.get, and this is the database secret, and this is the access key or the key secrets inside the Azure keyboard. Through that, we can achieve the data whatever you are expecting. You can access the data is there as a return.csv. Okay. Instead of writing the hard coded code, I'll show you why it was not working previously. Okay. Let's do that. I'll just show you even high level steps, then you can do that. So what exactly you need to do when you are creating the keyboard? What is the first step to do that? That make the interaction. Hello. Am I talking to myself? What exactly? Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, Samir.
What happened? See, we're talking in online, like remotes. And if I talk like this, I'm not feeling well. In the sense, I'm talking to myself only. What exactly happened? You don't want to answer anything? Don't want to talk as well?
We have to create the key 1 or Q2.
What about the rest others? You want to just join in and put it in a mute? Again, I'm asking, what happened? Just stop at least. What happened? The guys need to join and put it in a mute.
No, Samir, it's not like that. No.
Okay, then. Okay, so whenever you are creating the keyboard, you just create the create, and we'll just send the resource group here and just create a test here. So for test 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and crashing tab is there. But here one point that we missed is that click on the next. Okay, and here the permission model you need to see. If you have a in real time, there will be a role-based access over there. But since we are working on a single standalone system, please click on this Vault Access Policy. This is the point where I was missing last time. So I need to select the Vault Access Policy, then review, and that's it. Simple. This is the one step was missing. Then once it is created, I'm not creating anywhere. You can go to your keyboard, click on the secrets, and you can create your secrets just like that. How I created. Right? You remember that step, you know that. Once that part is done, existing part is done, then you know how to interact with the Databricks. So for the Databricks, I need to go to my home page, and on the home page, I need to write secrets/create scope. Okay. So this URL you need to hit it. Then you need to create your scope here. Okay. And manage principal, just go with the all users, and BSN name and resource ID you need to put it. That where from where you will get it. You go to the Azure keyboard, then click on the properties, and you will get the first URL is for the vault URL. Copy it and put it here. Okay, and the resource ID is the second one. These two links you need to put it here to create your database scope. Okay, once that is done, then you can go to your notebook and you can write the dbutils.secret.help. So there are a couple of methods here. The first method is to get it. So you can say dbutils.secrets.get. The first parameter it will take is called the database secret which you created. Okay, that one, comma, your access key. Access key is nothing but your secrets. Factory-7 access keys. If you execute this, then it will, if all things are looks good, then it will say redirected. Once it's true, then you can use the Spark configuration which you want to access the access keys to, right? So previously how we are doing it. So instead of writing this part, we're writing in a double quote the access keys, right? In the double quote access. So instead of that, now I'm fetching that access key through your DB filter secrets, and the secrets is available at Azure keyboard. Make sense?
Yes, Samir.
Okay. So in this way, we can do others as well. So let's take SAS token. So what you can do on the SAS token also, now the access part is done. Now here also you are using a hard coded. If you do completely this is the SAS token which you created it, and you are hard coding this, correct, in the code. For that also we can go here and create a SAS token, key token, and using that also we can import it. But I will show you something which is quite interesting. So let's do that. The first is go to service principal, okay, the notebook which you created. And now here we have hard coded the client ID, my tenant ID, and my client security. These are the three things I need to create on the keyboard. Then I will access that using that. Okay. So I will go. Now first access key is created. Now click on the generate import manual. Okay. Now the first I want to create client ID. So project hyphen client ID. Okay. This is the one. And what will be the client ID? And this will be my client. Okay. Instead of hard coding this, I will take this copy and instead of secret values, I will type it. This is my client ID. To avoid the confusion, I am saying this is called the client ID. Create. So now one more secret got created, which is called the project hyphen client ID. Fine. Now second, again I am creating another one, which is nothing but my tenant ID. Okay. So the name is project hyphen tenant ID, and this is the tenant ID. You see, and control, right? This is that we grouping. So client ID, tenant ID got created. Okay. Now the last one is your secrets. Create the generated import project secrets. Okay, and that will be, and this is called the secrets. Create. Okay, now you need to replace these values. Let me copy this. On top of this, I will create a notebook here. Here I will put all the values. Now instead of writing the hard-coded way, now I will replace this all db utils dot secrets dot get. Okay, get. Then first secret name. Copy paste. First, give me a second. Duplicate, and I will copy from the other notebook which I created just now using the access keys. Now I've written some statements. Yeah, this one. So instead, I'll change the only the access keys part. Okay, so I will say this will become correct only. Only the practice access key will change to project client ID. Okay, so just make sure that you are copying properly. So this will be the first project client ID. Okay, let's copy paste this. Copy paste, paste. Okay, so this is the first one. Then second one. is project tenant ID. The last one would be my secret ID. So if you see the bottom and this one, here we have on the code itself, you have hard coded the values, but now all the things we are getting from the secret. This is the right way to do it. Now let me close this. Or let me copy this. Just close it out. Delete. Now everything remains same. Now let's run this. Okay, so that I will get all the things done. Now, if I run the Windows 1, the configuration, I should get the way I want. Exactly. So there is no changes. So I can still access the return the CSV files. Okay, make sense?
Yes.
So this is the way we can do it. Now, what about the way we are doing it? Everything is something like the storage is there here, and in the storage, data is available, and we are using either access keys, OS secrets, a SAS token, service principal, or cluster scope. Whatever the way we are doing it, everything is something like we are accessing that part. Is there a way? Okay, like and if you see here, when I'm saying that I can access the my storage ID directly, I can read the file, but where exactly it is storing in the database, because Databricks and Azure Storage are two different components. So what happens is, in this case, the architecture is something like, in the Databricks there is a feature called DBFS, database file system. So always the data will be stored in that one, and it will get interact with your Azure Cloud Storage or the storage whatever you will create. So on the DBFS, let's create a new workbook, and I will explain you that. Let's explore it. Don't look at it this. So I will show you. So here, if you go to your data menu, right, you will get an option called browse the DBFS. This by default is always not available. If this option comes up, we can upload some file directly into the database only. Okay. So, but how to activate this option? If you click on your icon, your name, and you can go to the admin settings first. Okay, and click on the workspace setting and search for DBFS, and this option, DBFS file browser enabled. This is enabled. I just enabled it. It should be disabled state like this. Okay. So what I need to do, you just enable this option, then finally refresh the browser so that your things is getting updated. Now you can see this DBFS is enabled. Once this is enabled, you can go to the data menu, and you will get an option called browse DBFS. Now click on the browse DBFS. You will get one more content and file store. Okay. And if you click on the file store, you can upload the files. So you just click on this. It will go to your folder when you are keeping it, and you can upload some files whichever you want. So that way, I have just uploaded the return.csv. Once that is done, right, you can, let me go to the export now. View project, imports, export DBFS. Okay. Now after that, okay, you can directly use that file to access the data. But here the problem is, we are uploading the data into the directly the database. That is not the way you should do it. Okay, because there will be security concern. Everybody can have access to the data. All these things can be possible. So how we can see what are the mount points are available when you are uploading some files. So I can say dbutils.fs.ls, and I can say this is my root folder. This is my root folder. Okay. If I run this, then I will get some data or the information. Let's wrap it around the display as well. Display. And you will get so many things, mount points. So one is your data set. You can explore this. What are the data sets available on this? Results, all these things. And one more utility got added. This is called the file store. Now, if I say inside that, if I say file store, now slash, if I say file store, okay. Now, if I execute this, you will get return.csv in the return. Just hold on, guys.
Samir, like in the DB utils, we have many functions. Sometimes that we have used this secrets help for the secret code and all, right? So how do we know? Is there any important syntaxes to remember it from the DB utils?
Yeah, what else? Somebody is asking something.
Samir, Anita, I'm asking a doubt. Like from the DB utils, we do have
Hmm.
many syntaxes, right? Earlier that we have used a syntax like secrets help, all those syntaxes. So do we have any set of syntaxes? What is the purpose of those syntaxes to know it?
No, that comes with the users only, and you can search for the Azure Database documentation DB utils. There you can
Mhm.
find out the list of functions there. But that along with that, whichever you want to use it, on that spot you need to decide that what exactly your purpose. Based on that, you can use it.
Okay, suppose in Python we have some functions like minimum, max, sum, like that, right? So, but this syntaxes are something seems difficult, like secrets help, all those things.
That's what DB utils is the main utils where you can access it. So now
Okay.
that is your job is to do it, right? It's not like I can like explain you all the functions there. Whichever is getting used, you need to use. And if you want all the list of functions what are available, you can search the documentation DB utils, and there will be list of functions will be there, but out of the context that questions because we don't know which one I need to use what time. So now when the requirement comes up, I need to think of then which function I need to use. Make sense?
Okay.
Okay. Now this is the file store, and from the file store now I can return read dot message. What will happen? Let's So this is the return.csv. Now I want to read this file. How I will do? I want to see the content. I return multiple times that statement. At least instead of asking that question that how you use the DB utils other things, can somebody tell me how to read this file now?
dbutils dot read csv.
Is it? Is there a function db.read CSV? That is called the Spark KY. Spark.read CSV. I have written multiple times this statement, I think. Don't I show you. Here only I have written. See, correct?
Yeah, you wrote that one, but when to use this one, Spark, or when to use this dbutils?
Means
When we need to use dbutils? When we need to use this Spark read csv?
okay, now tell me what is DB utils exactly? What do you mean by DB utils?
That's for the Databricks.
Database what?
Database utility.
Hmm. Database utilities. Database utilities means you need to fetch the content from there, or you want to mount it, you want to do something. Now, if you want to read something out of the files, then you need to use the Spark. Here the Spark.reader CSV. So I explained the first class itself that this is DB utils, and this is the way you will read the data. As of now, these are the things we discussed. Now, point of doubt is what here? That question is not that where to use and what to use. The question is to know the context. Anyway, it's fine. I don't want to go deeper. I don't know what is the problem now happening for you guys. The same thing was happening on other things also. It's not the first time. Databricks model I'm facing this issue. You guys have problem on the Python as well. When on the SQL last page, not so sure. Maybe something is going wrong. I don't know. Not able to understand, or maybe I'm not able to explain you properly. I don't know what is the problem. We need to figure it out. If you not speak up, still you will not able to do that. Yes. Anything you want to say? Because this data plane concept is almost there in the Python as well. So DB uses utility to get, fetch, all these things. When you want to read something, write something, Databricks is run on Spark. Spark. You need to use the Spark utility. Now Spark, if you use the spark.read.csv, just like in the pandas, panda data frame.read.csv, it is like returning a data frame. To use a data frame, what we are using there in the Python, we're using the either a print statement or something like that. So this case, we're using the display method to get the data. This, I think, as of now, as simple as I kept it and I explained this scenarios. Still is a confusion? Hello?
No,
No,
Samir.
Samir.
Okay, so if you see here now using the DBFS, I can able to upload some file directly to the Databricks and you can read that. Now the problem is this is the security purposes. Like I can't do directly this because the data is exposing to everybody. Okay, so when I will use this method in two ways. First of all, suppose I need some, let's take any image file or any kind of icons to my project, then I can upload this way. Second thing is, quickly I want to test some scenario with some sample data. So I have some Excel file or something with the sample data. You want to upload into Databricks directly instead of going through all the procedure like I'll keep it in the storage, then I will access to the Databricks, all the stuffs. I can directly upload those files to this Databricks file system and there I can start using this. Okay, so these are the two ways, but this is not a recommended approach to do that. Now I will tell you the exact way how a real-time project works. So now, till now, we have a storage data that we are accessing to the database using different ways. Service principal ways, has tokens, access key. Every time you need to write the configuration, everything. Now, what I will do in this case is that I will take the Azure storage and directly mount it into the database. That's called the mounting. In the sense, somehow I need to mount directly the storage, and instead of writing all this configuration, service principal, client ID, secret ID, all this stuffs. Directly, I will use the database utility to mount the Azure storage directly to the database. That is the way. Okay. So what I will do here in this case is I will take my the service principal which you have created, right? This one, this notebook. How to duplicate this notebook, guys? If I want to duplicate this notebook, what I'll do? I want a copy of this notebook.
Clone.
So we go to clone file, clone. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So now we will say Azure storage mounts. Let's say the mounts. Okay. So this is the one I want to create it. Clone it and let me attach to a cluster and just writing something here. So we need to do something. So why I have choose the service principal way? Because for the mount, right? For the mounting of the storage, we need the way how we are doing the service principal way. This is the main first prerequisite that I can go with the service principal way only, the mounting. Okay. So we have all the settings we have done. So like our all the secrets are available on my Azure keyboard that you are accessing. Now we need to write the Spark configuration in a different way. Instead of doing all these things, we will just mount in a different way. Okay. So again, I'm saying these are the codes. We don't need to remember by heart like how we are writing. I have given some documentation as well. You can go to the Azure documentation, database documentation, and you can copy paste the code and you can just fix it because nobody has remembered all these 4 5 lines, frankly speaking. Okay. So for your this case, the mounting point. Okay, so we need to use a method of the Databricks utility called the mount method. And mount method will take a dictionary. What is dictionary in Python? Can somebody explain me what is dictionary in Python? What do you mean by a dictionary?
It's key and value.
Key and value. So that way we need to define the configuration. If you see this line, this 17th line to 21st line, this is your code where we need to use the first configuration you need to write, then you need to use the mount method to mount the method. Let's do that. So first I will take this configuration and let's top up here and I will paste it. Now here this is a some kind of, like if you see, this is like a just like a this I will pass on to the mount method. Instead of writing all the configuration, I will write in this. So here, just tell me, you know that. Now, first two lines are okay. In the third line, what I need to write here in the application ID? I explained this in a service principle when you are accessing this data. Same thing I'm asking. If I ask what is application ID here? Client ID, tenant ID, or client secret? Which one? Are you getting the point? What I'm trying to say? No? Yes. At
Is
least
it
say
client
no. I
ID?
can understand. No, I can understand. If it is no, I can explain it. Yes, you know how to access storage account to the Databricks using service principle. So yes or no? What is the answer? No means it's answer. Silence is
Some
no or yes.
application ID is nothing but the project, the storage ID. You need to specify it.
No, my question was simple. You know how to, do you know how to access a storage account to the Databricks using service principle way? Yes or no?
Yes, I know. Okay.
So if you see here on the below line, this is the copy paste I did, right? These are the lines we created. So we have created service principle. There we have created client ID, tenant ID, and client secret. And we have used this configuration to access the files or the whatever there in the Azure storage. Sorry, in the storage. These are the configuration we have written, right? Have you guys tried that ever? Okay. Then I need to ask individually, like, okay, good. Anita, you know how to use create the service principle? Nidhi, you, and who else joined? Can somebody explain me how to create the service principle? Wait.
Yeah, register Azure AD application and then generate a secret password.
Okay, there we can create the service principle. Okay, now what is the purpose of creating the service principle? Okay, Azure okay, that's fine. So instead of the application ID, I need to use my this one, my client ID. Okay, and instead of writing my client secret here, so I will say here, I will say my client secret here. Okay, and here I need to put my directory ID. Directory ID is nothing but my tenant ID in this one. Okay, that I think I explained properly. Is using the abstract. So I will use my tenant ID and just write the F. That's the way I should do it. So now I have written in a different way using the mount method. Now execute this. Let's hold on. Maybe this is not run. I think. Okay. Now this part is run now. Yeah. Now we are good. So this is done. Now we don't need this part because this is the Spark configuration which you used to access the mount. Now we will pass this configuration to the mount method. Okay. So we will need to use another method here. So this is dbutil.fs.mount. Now somebody is asking that what are the methods we will use it. So it is meant for what? So that's what I told. Go to the documentation of the dbutils. There you will see all the methods there, but everything will be not in use as long as my requirement comes up. Okay. So here I will copy this after this, and we will use the dbfs.mount method now, my source. Okay. So we need to use the container at the storage account name. So if you see here, this all things we have written previously. So this is my container at my storage account name. So this is my this part. So I need to use it. As whatever yours is there, we need to use that. Okay. Making sense or not, I don't know. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Yes, Samir. Okay, but only thing, right? Bit confused. Okay, the steps. Okay, we at least we need to watch it more than 2 3 times the same video. Then only we'll get familiar. Some places it can get confused. Where we use the secret ID, where how to generate it, and little bit confused. Even if I watched 2 times, but still it little confused for me. The process and steps. So I think I need to watch one more time the video from the scratch on the Spark, the Databricks. Then maybe I get little more clarity on that one.
That's correct. We need to spend
But
some
it
time
is,
on that.
yeah, it is more confusing. Okay, even first time I watching, I get some clarity, but second time watching, I'll get more doubt on the first. Better the first time it's going little worse than that first time. So maybe at least I need to watch another 2 3 times to get more familiar with the steps. Okay, where we need to use the DB utilities and for mounting whatever you are saying, right? So
Yeah.
little confused. Okay, so that's the thing. At least I need to watch another 2 3 times.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the same problem with me also, Samir, because till the cluster creation and pool policies, it's okay. But after that onwards, keys creation and getting the errors in the middle, so we are not able to practice much on those things.
So that's the problem, Anita. If you're not practicing, everything will be bounced. That's 100% because there are n number of steps will be there. That's for sure. And this code, whatever I written, let's say this is the file I am using to use the access the data lake store using the service principal. This I already given in the WhatsApp. Just need to copy paste and just write it. And no need to remember this. That's for sure. This 5 liners codes, nobody remember and you also don't need to remember. Okay. But you should know how you are getting the client ID, tenant ID, and client secret. That you should how you created it. Now the second step is I kept that first as a hard coded value. Now I kept it as a inside the Azure keyboard. Then how we can access that? That's the second part. Is it making sense?
Yes.
Yes, Sumit.
Okay, so now let's understand this. Now mounting. So now I have a current practice at the whatever the storage account I have created. This is my mount point. Now I can use my mount point name. So mount slash the mount name. Okay. So here I can use my this one, the project DVL. This is my storage account slash demo. This is my container name. You know, right? In my storage account, just try and understand this. This is very important. Okay. This is the way. This is my storage account, project DVL. Inside that, containers. I have a demo, sorry, practice container, presentation, process, and draw. So let's first mount the practice. So not demo, sorry, it's a practice. So now this is the way the real-time people works. I'm very frank. So they will create the different client ID, secret ID for the Azure storage. Then they will write this config information, okay, just like this, and they will use the mount method to mount the storage account to the Databricks. So in this case, you are mounting the practice container inside my project area. That's what we are doing. Okay. Now, if I run this, I think I have run this other one. Let me run this. Now, it should throw you that it is true. Okay? It should throw you as a true. Okay. And once it is true, then we can use the display method to access this. Okay. That part I am leaving now because the endpoint is just me delete this all these things. we understand now how we can mount the records. Now we have mounted, and this is the way the production ready course works. Okay, I'm very frank. Neither through the first way we created, and it is the first way. You see here, we have accessed all the stuffs. Then we have some configuration we have written, and based on that we are routing. Rather than that, we will using the mount method to access the storage account. Okay, this is the way to do it. But here the question is very simple: is that suppose question, and generic question is that suppose you have four containers: practice, rendition, processed, and raw. Then suppose you want to go into mount each and every time this code needs to be run, right? Mount project detail SAS practice first, then raw file, then rendition, then process, then raw. Everything you need to write one by one to process to mount it. Right? Instead of that, what should we do it? Okay. Here comes your concept of Python functions. Okay. So you know how to create the Python functions? How we can create the Python function? Can somebody
Def
tell me?
function.
Def. Okay. So let's create a top of that. Up to now, any questions is there? Up to now, any questions you guys have?
As of now, no. Maybe when we go through one more couple of time video, maybe we'll get
Okay. So now my question is on this notebook, what I did exactly? What the purpose of writing all these things? Underneath what I did, what I
We
done.
can't, yeah, we can't store in Azure directly because of the security. So we are using mount method. So we will mount the file after that store into Azure.
So mount means what here? Mounting means what, guys? We are taking the storage container and you are putting inside the database so that we can access it. Because ultimately the data will be stored in the storage account. So when you mount that, mount in the sense it is just on top of that. Okay. So Databricks is there. We are mounting means we are putting that container inside. So logically we are putting inside the Databricks so that I can access the storage space. Okay. That's what we are doing in the storage space. But the only problem I have now is that this code will work, but it's not a production ready code because each and every time I need to run this method to mount anything. Suppose tomorrow I have a 4. Tomorrow I can have another container as well. So there should be a flexibility should be given to the customer or the developer instead of writing all the codes each and every time. Like in this case, we are saying practice. Now I can say demo, all these things. Instead of writing, I will fix from problem using the your functions. So let's try to write a function. So here the function would be just see this, okay? So the function would be here. I will write something like this. Def, you know the def function. Okay? Say mount underscore storage. This is my function name. Okay, and it will take two parameters. First is my storage account name. Second one will be container. These are the 2 points you need, right? So which storage, which container. So this is my storage name. These are my containers. So that's what I am taking. Two x and y variables inside my. Making sense? As of now, it is making sense to you.
Yes.
Okay. So what this function will do? So first of all, if you see in the normal way, what you are doing first. First, you are taking all the secrets which is stored inside the keyboard and you are getting it. That's what the first step you are doing in this case as well. So I will just copy paste this. Control C. This is my first step. And I will put some comments. So get Azure keyboard storage secrets. So this is the comments. Then I will write this. Okay. Make sure you are underlining this. This is the first step. We'll get the Azure keyboard storage. Then set the Spark configuration. This is the part which I have written. Set Spark configuration. Set Spark configuration. Okay, this is my configs. Then Then we need to use the mounts. Okay. Then I will say mount the storage. Mount the storage, I can copy directly here. This part. Only part I need to change here is that I will show. This is the mount method I need to use it. Okay, so this is the mount method I need to use it. So only what I need to do here, what I need to change here in this case. Now we are hard coding this. Okay, so we are hard coding here what? Your project DVL, this is my storage, this is my practice. And here also we are saying practice at project DVL. These two part I need to change. Okay, how to change it? Instead of that, whatever the when we call this function, we'll pass a storage account name and a container name, right? When you call this function. So that X and Y I need to pass it here. And based on that, I want to mount. It is making sense now. You know the functions, right?
Yes.
So when I will call this function, I will take two parameters, right? Storage account name and container name. Let's take on the first parameter, I transfer my storage account name, project DBA, and container is let's say presentation. And that will be stored inside these two variables, right? Storage account name and container name. That I want to pass it. Is it making sense? Okay.
Yes, Samir.
Yeah. So instead of this, I will use like this. Let's make this as a F string. And first is my this one, the practice. Practice is nothing but my what this is. This is the container name, right? This is the container name. So I will take container name here, the variable. And instead of writing the container name like this, and I will write here in a this way. And instead that I will write my container name. Okay. And at the rate project DVL. This is also I need to change it. So I will say this is the way I will write the storage account. So now it is a more reusability code will be happening. Okay. Now here also the mount I need to say F and I will write this part container name. This is my container name. Sorry, this is my storage account. Sorry. This is my storage account name. And this is my container. So these are the functions I can create a just like a function whatever I have created. Now let's execute this. All looks good. This looks good now. I can delete this. This step is not required. Even this step is not required. And even this step is not required. Now I have the function directly, everything I have here. Okay. Now on the last step, I can use one function or using display the mounts. So once it is mounted, right? Whatever the container you mounted, immediately I want to display it. Okay. So for that, I can use a function called inside the display. I can use the DB utils. Now another function we will use for the DB utils that is called fs dot mounts. Okay. So it will mounts means it will show you uh, whatever is mounted immediately it will show you. So let's suppose you mounted the container called demo, then immediately whatever the contents that is available inside the demo, it will show you. Okay, this is last. Let's execute this. This is done. Now we need to just mount it. Let's take the mounting. So what I need to do now, I need to use my this function. So I will write mount storage. Okay, then I need to pass in a double quote. First my the storage account name. This is my storage account. Project DBL, because there are two parameters to this. First is the storage account name, then the container. Now the container, let's take I want to do for raw now. Already. So within the double quote, I will say raw. This time I want to do for the raw now. So now, see this function will help you to write only this part. In real time, I'm very frank that this function is almost 95% will be different. Okay, so they will ask you to just use that function to mount the storage. So inside that, these are the codes will be written. And if somebody asks you to write this code, you can use this like this. Okay.
In real time, this all like a part of the framework design, right?
Correct. Absolutely correct. Now just we need to call the function, and inside that we need to part the storage and your
But
container which you want
but
to
one
mount it.
thing we need to understand the framework to reuse that. We have to understand, then only we can call out the function name where we need to
Correct.
call this one.
That's correct. That's correct. You can see the code. I'm saying
Mm,
you will not, you will able to see the code, but most of the time it will be already written, the mountains. Okay. You can see that. Suppose you want to modify something. Suppose any of the requirement comes that, and you want to see, you want to modify it. You can come here and you can modify. Still, you can
okay.
modify. Now let's run this. Just give me a second. Yes. So let this running now. See here. Now my mounting is done for the raw container. Immediately it is saying that these are the available. So this, if this comes up, then it is saying that, because on the end of the function, we are saying that after the mount is successful, it should see me the all the mounts available. Okay. So out of this, one of the mount is this. We are doing it. Okay. So it is giving me correct. The data is correct for me. So if you see here, mount project dbl.raw, the first line. Others are already there, but the first point is more important. We have mounted the raw content. Make sense? And you can pass on everything. Now we can pass raw, then we can pass presentation, processed, everything we can do using this function. The only problem is this function is, suppose somebody, uh, the raw is already mounted. Okay. Again, if I run it, then it's a problem. If I run it again, it should throw an error for me because raw is already unmounted. It is mounted already, and we are already a container is mounted, and we are again you are mounted. So this is an error will come up. So whatever the code I have written, it's still not the proper scope. So here, after the configuration is done, we need to write two liners of code here. Okay. This is I'm from my experience I'm sharing, guys. These are the things is very much important if you work on a Databricks. I'm very much sure on that. Okay. So here the point is the raw is already mounted and you are again remounting it. So it is throwing an error. So what we need to check here is that before mounting it, so before coming to this step, we should check that whether the container, whatever you have writing, whether that is a mounted or not mounted. If it is not mounted, we should mount it. If it is a mounted, then we should unmount it, then mount it. That makes sense, right? Are you getting my point? What I'm trying to say here?
Yes.
Okay. So here, what I need to do here. So after my configuration is done, okay? After my configuration is done, before mounting the storage, let's put a command, check the mounts. Check the mounts. And I will write a code here. If I have a function called any method here, any. Okay. Here I will use a method called mount dot mount point. Mount point. I think this is the correct mount point. Comparison equals to this one, this part. I'll copy. Whether whatever that I'm giving it, if it is this, this, this much. Yeah, let me copy this completely. If this is this, if anybody, like suppose you have given project dbl and raw, okay, so it will go and you will check the mount point whether that is project dbl raw is available or not available. Okay, so after that I will write for mount in, just give me a second, mount in db utils. I know this is somehow it will go with the approach. But trust me, guys, just follow along this. You will find some sense easiest way. Don't worry what I'm writing and all. Slowly you will also able to get this information. Don't worry. Okay. So for um, then I will say db utils dot fs dot unmount. How unmount, mount, unmount. Yeah, unmount. I'll explain. Just give me a second. Else it will just mount it. Okay. So let me just run it and I should not get any error. Now if you see what exactly I am doing. Now raw got like previously it was mounted. Second time when you run this command, it was throwing an error. Now if I run it now again, it will not throw an error. It will work. Because I'll tell you why. Let it first comes up. How many times it will run? It will never throw an error. Because we have given a condition. It has been unmounted. First it will unmount, then it will again mount it. There is no error. So what I have done? So here just think like that. So we have transferred the two parameters. One is my project DBL and one is my raw. Okay. So here this part is project DBL. This is my raw container. Then first we are doing taking the secrets. It's fine. Second part we are writing the configuration, which is fine. Now it is checking whether the mount point, which the mount point is this much. So it is like mount slash my project DBL slash my raw container is there or not. If it is a mount point, then it will check for inside the all the mount point. If it is there, then it will unmount it. If it is not there, it will mount it. Making sense, right? So unmount and mount. If the container is already mounted, then it will check whether it is there or not. If it is there, it will find out the mount procedure. It will unmount it, then again it will get mounted. Okay. So this is the code I have written. This is the function. I think I should give this to you so that you can use it. Let me copy paste this. And I will put it in a WhatsApp so that you can use it. This. Okay. This is making sense.
Yes, Samir.
Yeah, it will take some time to digest it, but I would suggest whatever the efforts you are putting for other stuffs, please put some extra efforts for the Databricks. Okay, it will not come blindly. Like if you think through and if you're not writing the code, it will never come up. Into practice.
Samir, we
Hmm.
are already we mount the old container, right? So why should
Yeah,
we unmount that one? Because the container is same one, right?
correct.
Content
So
will be the
suppose
different.
correct. Suppose what happen is you have called the function. Let's say you are the X user and you have given the your storage and you have mounted. I don't know like which one you mounted or not mounted. I will come and I will run the function and I will put the container which was already mounted. Then if you're not writing this code, it will throw an error for you saying that this is already mounted one.
Yes.
So to make it as a production ready code, we are saying that if somebody already mounted the container, let's make it unmount and again mounted that so that my code will never fail. Okay. Previously, it was an exception was coming. So I should make it as a production ready code. Like it should never fail. That's what the objective behind the if
Okay,
statement. Okay. Yeah.
okay, Samir. Yeah, thank you.
And
Is there any way to display the list of mounted ones or unmounted ones like that?
yeah, this is the method you can use it. dbutils.fs.mounts. If you use this, you will see part of the mount points available.
Okay.
So this function can be as much of lengthy as possible. You can put any logic here. Okay. So this is like a intermediate level of function I have given you. Final versions could be different in a different project experience. Like they want to use so many stuffs inside this. So inside the storage, I can give the file name directly also. Inside the file, I can provide the permission as well also in this function. So this is a function. It's some every project will have that. Okay. So like a mount function. Okay. It can be lengthy as much as possible based on your requirement. But the basic, this is more of an intermediate function I have given. Final could be anything. Okay. But if there could be two requirement comes to. First is that if you are working on a fresh project on the Databricks, then there could be chance that we need to write this code. Second is this existing one, then once in a while we will ask to modify as well. Suppose any requirement comes up or any error is coming or which is not there in this function, then one more requirement will come to modify this as well. So we need to understand the complete procedure, that which one is what, which one is so. Okay. So in that way you can use this function. Okay. So on that note, I am using it now. Previously that now we are almost near to the starting of the project now. So if you have any backlog, so we have discussed few things. First thing is how to create the storage. Then how to access the storage inside the Databricks. We have an authentication. Now during that access, you are exposing the keys directly into the Databricks notebook. So for that you use the Azure keyboard. Okay, to store the secrets anywhere they need. Now we are seeing the mount method, how to use the mount method to access the storage. And this is the way you should do it in your real-time project, the mount method, rather than the other way, the first one. So till this, please complete yourself, make comfortable what you are writing here. Just after that, I will start my project. Okay. And one more thing, till this, I want to write it very carefully here. Till end of 2022 means current. This was the mount method was the mount method which we discussed just now, was the main preferable way to access to storage. And still most of the projects will be on the mount method. But from the 2020-22, Databricks introduced a new way of doing it, that is called your Unity catalog. Okay. So now people are starting using the Unity catalog methods to access the storage. This part I will explain you on the end of the very thing, because I don't want to make it confused, because this is
Okay.
slightly different. Okay. So, but this is the preferable way nowadays in the industry. They are using the Unity catalog, and this is comes with the premium features. It will not come with the standard. Okay, it will come with the premium. But since I have the premium for the Databricks, I will show you this. Okay, but right now let's go with the mount method and make sure you make comfortable with all the things whatever I have till now. Okay, it is making sense.
Yes.
Okay, okay, that's it, guys, for today, and I'm just stopping.